Hello and welcome to We've Got No Idea What We're Going to Say with Ben Simmons and Nick Murphy.
I'm scared. There's a void of words and I'd like to fill it. Good start there.
Being the improv legends that we are, I'm sure we'll have no difficulty in filling the next 20 minutes with things that will interest you, our dear listeners.
Well, when you say they'll interest our dear listeners, they'll interest me and you and may bore the trousers off our dear listeners.
Yeah, although I suppose at this point in time we don't have any listeners.
As we're recording this, obviously we don't. We're in an empty room.
No, but I mean also this is going to be a podcast. We don't have any subscribers to that podcast at the minute, so technically we have no followers, listeners, fans or anything.
Do you think the government has bugged my premises?
It could have done. You can't rule it out.
We've got listeners.
Right, that's fine.
Government listeners.
Somehow everything is better.
So,
well, I think before we go any further, we need to explain what the whole point of this is.
That's right, yeah. So
myself and Nick have been friends.
Can you explain it to me? Because I don't really know.
I'd like to. Myself and Nick have been friends for over 10 years. For the last 6 years, we've been working together on London's improv circuit, as I like to call it.
Yeah, nobody else calls it that, though, do they?
Everyone else calls it Asda's. But we thought it might be entertaining for people to do some improvised podcasts whereby we don't plan anything that we're going to say for 20 minutes and just speak what comes out of our mouths, be it entertaining, be it drivel, be it controversy.
I'm going to stop you there. Speak what comes out of our mouths.
I didn't... That's exactly proves my point. It might be drivel.
Oh, I've just dribbled. Is that the same?
No, there's a B instead of a V, isn't there?
Ah, spelling.
Aaron
spelling B instead of spelling V.
Right, so you've now, I guess, got the gist of this programme.
That's right. So we've been working together, as you say, on the London improv circuit, as I will now always refer to it, for about 6-7 years. We also we founder members of Shotgun Improv that perform every third Wednesday at the Miller of Mansfield.
Exactly, and with any luck, you might have found this podcast through a link from Shotgun Improv's website.
That's right. So if you've clicked on the link and you're now listening to our lovely voices, come along and see us in the next show.
Yes.
Just work out the third Wednesday. We'll be there. Will you?
That's of every month, not the third Wednesday of...
After you heard the podcast. Just random. With a bit of luck, it will be the right Wednesday, but it's probably about a 1 in 4, 1 in 5 chance.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Of course, you may have found this podcast via us advertising it on Facebook, and you may be what's known as friends to us.
Or just friends on Facebook, but you may hate me, because most of the ones I have seem to hate me.
Is that because you only make friends with attractive girls on Facebook who then realise that you're a bit sinister?
Yeah. Yeah, a bit sinister.
Yes.
Why do I always go up to them in a black cloak?
You can be sinister without wearing a black cloak.
Can you?
Yeah, you can go up to someone and go, "Hello, do you want to go out with me?" That's sinister, isn't it?
It's just a bit weird, isn't it? Sort of sinister and a bit mental.
Can I just tell you something that I don't think I've ever told you before? I happen to know from studying Latin, and there's not many things I remember from my Latin days.
No, hang on, I can't remember the last time you started a sentence with, I happen to know from studying Latin.
That the word sinister in Roman times actually means by the left hand. Actually means left-handed people, and somehow that became a meaning of bit strange.
So very much like the way we regard ginger people nowadays.
Kind of
so
like
if it's
that.
like ginsters is clearly... There we go, we found out something amazing already.
Unbelievable.
Ginsters pasties show...
that they're made by left-handed people and they're the work of Satan.
Sinister ginger bastards.
Of course, that's something we need to quickly mention, people. There is a parental advisory note on this podcast because...
Explicit content.
Exactly. With the unknown nature of it, there is the risk of swear words emanating from our mouths. More often, I predict, from Nick Murphy's mouth than mine.
Sod off.
Because I have the mouth of a saint and Nick has the mouth of a Ginster's pasty eater.
That's sinister.
Do you like a Ginster's pasty?
I can't really ever recall eating a Ginster's pasty. Pasty? That wasn't northern or southern. It's like pasty or...
Is that a pasty that's past its sell-by date?
Full of parsley, I don't know.
Whether it's a pasty or a pasty, you're saying you've never eaten one?
No, I've had sort of Cornish pasties, but not Ginsters.
Well, I like the taste.
They sell them a lot at services.
They do, don't they? What I like the taste of, and you look at it and you think that doesn't look nice, is a Ginster's buffet bar.
Right. Well, you're going into a completely unknown realm for me, I'm afraid.
This is probably a bit unnecessary of me to mention quite early on in our first ever podcast, but it's covered in breadcrumbs. It's kind of got like chopped up Scotch egg and sausage meat in it, maybe bits of bacon and stuff. It's quite nice, but it's roughly the same size as a penis.
Although this podcast, as you know, is entitled "We Have No Idea What We're Going to Say," and generally speaking, we can just talk about things. Sometimes I'm dumbstruck. Dear listeners, that was one of those times.
Well, I did warn you that it was possibly unnecessary and maybe not the right time, but that's the whole point of the programme.
We know Ben Simmons eats a Ginster's product and thinks that it's a penis.
That I did not say
you
that.
Put it in your mouth.
Let's not go
thinking about
there.
penises.
Let's not go there.
We're there.
I can't eat it ever again now. I used to like that. You absolute bastard. You've ruined...
so sinister, they've outed you.
All these
Your wife
years.
will be...
I've been married for 5 years. And I've been a closet food in the shape of a penis lover.
Yep.
Ah. Well, there you go. I think we need to quickly move on to another topic.
Absolutely. Topics. Are they shaped like a penis?
No, they're far more rectangular, aren't
Excellent. I can't really
Let's
remember.
talk about chocolate bars called Topics.
Yep.
Do you like them?
Again, this is going to upset you. Obviously knew it was a chocolate bar. I knew it was called a Topic.
Don't tell me you've never had it.
I can't ever remember having it.
I don't remember... Well, don't remember ever, but you don't eat chocolate bars very much, do you?
Not at all. Well, not at all. Sometimes, but very rarely.
Hmm.
I don't know why that is. I like chocolate. I had a chocolate fountain once, and I enjoyed using that.
That was a great night out, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant.
That's on our other website.
That's only accessible to the police.
Why does Sting want to know about...
He just loves reading about chocolate.
There are some things that when people say them, I can't help myself. And it's like, someone mentions the police, I have to come out with a crap gag about Sting.
And the fact that there is also a popular group of people who play in a band called the Police.
Yes.
Yep. Everybody knows it.
Comedy impro legends, right here,
I wonder if
ladies
Sting drove around like with his band members as vigilantes, trying to keep the peace and uphold the law. Would any arrests
Where's
they
this
made?
going?
Would any arrests they made be legal? That's what I want to know.
I've always wondered what a citizen's arrest is. Is it an official thing, or is it just a sort of thing that appears on television and they sort of make it up?
I've never understood it, because if you see one person being a criminal and then you decide to perform a citizen's arrest, doesn't that just mean you've got to apprehend them and take them to a police station? Or apprehend them now, phone 999 and wait for the police to arrive while you sit on them?
Because you're a citizen, you don't have any power over them at all.
No, you don't have any power over them, but what disturbs me is how does anyone just manage to keep them under control until anybody else arrives?
Break the legs.
Why didn't everyone think of that?
Last time I saw my grandmother stealing something from Woolworths, which she stole so much the poor company went to ruin.
The poor company.
Yeah,
everyone's so sorry for Woolworths.
I miss the sheep and the dog.
Yeah. I don't quite understand how there's all those sort of vulture shops that come up as a result of another one going bust. There's an old branch of Woolworths, I can't even remember where this is, so it's almost pointless saying it, and it's reopened and it's called Wellworths.
Oh my God.
And it's like, what's that about? You've just slightly changed the name.
As though anybody's going to go past that and go, well, that's Woolworth. They've no, that is the name of it, isn't it? It sounds almost the same. Yes, let's go in there. It's like Woolworths.
But then wasn't there a thing where all the people who were going to be out of jobs who worked for Woolworths wanted to club together and like buy a couple of the stores, or get one of the managing directors to buy a couple of stores and call it Wellworths or something like that?
I've never heard that story. I'm not denying it's true.
Maybe I've made that story up, or maybe I've heard some segment of it somewhere.
Maybe you have. I've noticed that due to the closure of Borders and Books, etc., that Waterstones have opened a lot more stores.
They have, haven't they?
In the places where Borders and Books, etc. were.
So, in many ways, Waterstones are acting like a vulture and taking advantage of other shops' misfortune due to the recession.
They still call themselves Waterstones.
Yeah. Well, so if they didn't call themselves Waterstones, that would be bad, would it?
Well, no, they just call themselves Birders and Cooks, etc. I just had Ainsley Harrier and Anthony Worrell Thompson and a few others.
Yeah. Why would they work for Birders, though?
Because they like birds.
Brilliant.
Impro comedy legends.
Yeah. If you come to our impro shows, you will be sorely disappointed.
Because we're much funnier than this, and you're expecting this level. Yes.
You'll be laughing yourself into oblivion because we're so funny.
So obviously we've got the improv show. We have a show coming up, which we'll probably be performing it before this even goes live, possibly.
Well, I don't know if this is controversial, but I suppose we should officially date this programme as it's the first ever podcast.
That's right. Well, we're sitting here in Golders Green in lovely North London.
Yep.
On Tuesday, the 9th of March, 2010.
Or 2010, if you want to abbreviate it slightly.
Have we ever completely sorted out whether this is called the teenies, the tens, the...
That's one thing that upsets me. Every decade since I've been alive has had a clearly defined name.
Well, the noughties wasn't clearly defined at all. I remember a lot of discussion about what the noughties were going to be called.
Really?
Yeah,
I kind of just always accepted it as the noughties.
No, I remember distinctly.
But clearly, because this decade now starts with 10 and 11 and 12 and then goes into teens, it can't be called teens or tens. What is it?
Well, surely... That if you take that argument to its logical conclusion, only one of the years from 2000 to 2009 is a naught, isn't it? The rest all have normal numbers.
Yeah, but it's because the 70s all start with 7, so the noughties all start with 0, and you use the 2-digit abbreviation. But I suppose 1910s were called 10s, weren't they? So I suppose it's 10.
Were they?
Weren't they?
I don't know.
I don't know, it's so bloody long ago.
It's a long time.
I'm not Doctor Who, I've not been there.
I am. I'm a Dalek.
Are you one of the cult of Skaro?
No.
Do we risk sounding a bit geeky and nerd-like now?
No, we sound brilliant. I like chess. Oh.
The musical.
Yeah, that's much better than the game.
Nick Murphy, ladies and gentlemen, I know him so well. So,
I wish that wasn't true.
What's been happening with your face in recent times?
I had a shave this morning. Was it this morning? Yeah, it must have been this morning.
I can't believe you can't remember the last time you shaved.
Smooth?
When it was only a few hours ago.
Yeah, it really was.
Fair enough if you haven't shaved for 2 weeks.
No, I remember thinking to myself, I've done the 3 S's.
Yeah, let's not...
Shaved, and shaved again.
Good. Lots of shaving for you.
All over my body.
You've got a body that moves through water quicker than it did before, haven't you?
That's right.
When you swim naked.
Definitely.
Like you do. So, ladies and gentlemen, Nick gave something away there, which I don't know if we've ever given away, really, before. Well, I say before, but we've never done this before. So,
well, let's just clarify.
We
recorded a series of what we called radio shows. They were never actually released or broadcast.
In any way, shape or form.
Over 30 of these radio
38
shows?
we did.
38. So they were the sort of precursor to this idea.
Exactly. Those got us to this level. So you imagine what those were like.
We're now entirely experienced old hands at recording. This is the culmination of about 4 years of work.
If you're very lucky and you follow our podcasts and subscribe to them, we may well edit together a compilation of our previous shows.
That could be something for the future, couldn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. So I can say we've done things like this
before. A special
before.
Christmas show of our old radio shows.
That's
or
nice.
something.
It will be as famous as the Morecambe and Wise Christmas special.
It will.
Will it?
Mm-hmm.
What I was
20
getting at...
million viewers.
What I was getting at before is that you've given away the location of our broadcast, haven't you? You've said Golders Green.
We've said Golders Green in our radio shows because occasionally we've recorded them in other places as well.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if we just said North London, but maybe we have said Golders Green.
Maybe we only said North London, but anyway, Golders Green, that's as
clearly
specific as I want to be.
That enables our fans to track us down as we're recording these now because there is only one domicile in the whole of Golders Green.
That massive recording studio that we're currently situated in. Definitely. No, I don't mind people knowing I live in Golders Green. I don't mind. If you're sort of somewhere between about 18 to 30, you're an attractive female, you stalk away.
So you're saying you're happy to be stalked by an 18 to 30-year-old attractive female? Even if they get a bit kind of scary, obsessive?
Yeah, why not? Just come along.
Even if they make any claims that upset you and try and get you to keep going out with them?
Yeah, fine. Brilliant. Even if they injure themselves.
You don't learn from past experience, do you?
What?
Of course, that's never happened.
A story of my past that won't be told here.
Let's Pretend was a programme I remember from my youth.
You can actually now we do have an email address, do we?
Do we have an email address?
Oh, no.
Well, we have our own email address. I'm not giving mine out.
I'm not giving mine.
No, we will have an email address for this programme, or you may well be able to post comments on the podcast site.
We have a website address.
So does I. We do have a website address.
Let's tell people our website.
Well, this programme is We've Got No Idea What We're Going to Say. We've slightly abbreviated it for you at WGNI.
We've got no idea. We've got no idea.
.uk.
We've got no idea.
WGNI.co.uk.
In life.
It's always good when I'm saying the web address to speak in the middle of it. Then it makes it easier for people to know what it is.
You do it then.
WGNI.co.uk.
Did I do it then?
No, well done.
Thanks.
Right. I'll just cough quite loudly into the microphone, which is always a sign of professionalism.
Yep, definitely.
One thing that happened when we were recording our previous radio shows, dear listeners, is that they kind of evolved in that we occasionally had guests in them, didn't
That's
we?
right, yeah, we did for a while.
Can you see that ever happening with our podcasts, or are we going to go back to basics and it only ever be you and me?
I think it'll entirely depend on the calibre of people we have around us.
Right, as in like a shotgun calibre?
Possibly, yeah. We'll have people from Shotgun Impro.
See what you've done there?
Yeah. But yes, we may well have guests. It would be nice to have someone else join us in the studio.
Will we ever get David Guest to be a guest? Because that would be a nice irony, wouldn't it?
I did a pantomime about 18 years ago with a woman who dated him for about 6 months.
Right.
So it's not impossible. That's a connection.
So, how long? 18 years ago?
Yeah.
Is that the last time you saw that woman, or
Yes.
have you seen her since?
No, 18 years ago.
Right, so you've got to track down that woman, hope that she's still in touch with David Guest, or has some way of getting in touch with him, and then convince him to appear in one of our podcasts.
What's your problem?
No, I'm thinking that's completely brilliant and definitely will happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
I'll move heaven and earth.
Yeah.
And then put it back and apologise.
What you will notice from listening to our podcast regularly is that I tend to always open the show, and what we never did.
That's right. We had a problem because you opened the show, and generally speaking, it was sort of random who closed the show.
Yeah,
there wasn't really a proper close, was there?
Well, that's what should happen now we've evolved to these podcasts. I think you should always close the show with a summing up kind of comment.
That's crazy talk.
It puts pressure on you, I won't deny that, because I kind of know the way to introduce
You've got used
the
to
show.
introducing the show.
Yeah.
I'm not used to closing the show.
I've given you about 90 seconds to prepare for it for this time.
I've got to keep doing this, keep talking to you now, while thinking of what to do. It's like I've been put on the spot in an impro show or
And we
something.
all know how good you are at multitasking. Quite often, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be on the phone to Nick when he's in a coffee house. He can't keep speaking to me and
That
pay for
really
his
does
coffee.
happen. If it's like either getting on a bus or paying for a coffee while on the phone, I genuinely can't deal with it.
Hang on, mate. Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, cheers.
I've got
Can I
another
have a
really
small
weird.
latte?
We both work for a company that sort of takes costume characters around the country, and we drive around a lot.
Yeah.
And if the radio is on and I'm decided to pull into the services, because you have to concentrate a bit more, like driving around the services car park.
Yeah.
I have to turn the radio off. I can't have. It's like it's distracting me too much.
Brilliant.
Safe driving on the motorway, then.
Yeah, that's always good to know. I kind of know where you're coming from, though, because if you're following maps or really concentrating on something, I would always much rather not have the radio on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I guess that must just be extra distractions that you don't need.
Yeah, I think it's easier to concentrate with less distractions.
Occasionally we're funny. Occasionally we like to help you when driving. Always take care out there, ladies and gentlemen.
Comedy and education
Well,
in one Ben and Nick shaped package.
I, for one, hope you've enjoyed this first of many podcasts. Keep listening. Keep coming to Shotgun Impro. It's been Ben Simmons and Nick Murphy. Over to Nick to finish.
Well, there we go. Thank you very much. This was We Have No Idea What We're Going to Say from Ben and Nick. Thank you very much. Goodbye.